some of the things that I've been working on. I've decided to take a little different approach to this than just sending out resumes and trying to represent myself that way. About a month ago, even though we were ahead of quota and booking business on schedule, I was released from my position as the director of global sales at Vector. In this time, I've reached out to a number of friends and industry colleagues, to express my availability and to describe, what I've been up to and some of the ideas that I have. So this summary is really just to explain that piece of it. I've been involved in the VMS and MSP space since the late '90s, and well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next few slides. The intention of this video and this website is really just to show you some of my thoughts and ideas to help drive business. This is unscripted. This is just me talking. And hopefully you're going to get a little taste of my personality and see how it may fit into your organization. There are some products and services that I have put together that we could use that I may continue to develop depending on kind of what the future. My crystal ball doesn't tell me what's down the road. So that's the intent of this website, is just to give a little bit of insight into Kevin, into me, and kind of what I've been up to and where we might be able to work together. So for those of you that don't know, let me give you a little bit of background. As I mentioned, the director of global sales for Vector, been involved since the late '90s. If you take a look at my LinkedIn profile or my resume, you'll see that there have been some gaps where I've diverted that course, and they've all been, well, both times they've been as a result of the sale of the company, where I, as the VP of sales, was no longer needed as part of that acquisition. And so I had in a lot of cases, a 2-year non-compete, which kind of drove me into doing something different. I tend to be a person that I get bored quickly, and that's why you're seeing this website and some of these other ideas coming into play over the course of just a month, right? So the labor market data was one of those side excursions. I partnered with a guy that where we were scraping 5+ million jobs a month, and then selling that data into compensation departments or into financial the quant industry. And it's rewarding, but my heart's in the VMS MSP space. And I think there's really a market for labor market data, and you'll see that in PayTrack. PayTrack was a result of that excursion into the labor market data. I've been a speaker at industry conferences. Did own a ballroom dance studio with my wife for a number of years, which was very fun. It was in advance of Dancing with the Stars or any of the other programs that could have done some marketing for us, but that's the way that goes. Lately, I've got some grandkids that are very involved in sports and arts and activities that consume a lot of our time, and we're very, very happy to do that. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I'm happy to go into my background more if you have an interest. I'll give you some contact information later. What I wanted to do is to tell you a little bit about the brands that you're seeing on this site. There is an intro video for each one of these. It tells you a little bit more specifically about the brand. You can also go to the website for each one, except for the VMS tool. The VMS tool, well, I'll tell you about that when I get there, but that's not sitting for public consumption yet, although it is on a website for testing and those kind of purposes, but we won't be divulging how to access that at this point. So Virtual Workforce is a brand that I started a long time ago during one of those intervals where I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next. I did some consulting work for staffing companies that were interested in becoming an MSP, as well as some companies that were a VMS that were trying to figure out how to partner with staffing or MSP companies. So a lot of what's went around in virtual workforce was really around that messaging, whether it was on supplier management, on the supply side or the demand side from the hiring company. Paytrack did play a role when that came around, into doing the market dynamics and some of those rate issues, rate and market demand issues. So that's really what virtual workforce is about. It's still a viable brand. We'll see where that goes. One of the things that has come up in the last month is I had a partner that I was proposing before the recent events to do a news conference like live stream, and one of my partners agreed with that and liked it, and so we decided that we're going to create this live stream concept, and that's what Contract Workforce Roundtable is about. Now, the roundtable I started about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, when networking events, in-person networking events were the thing. And so the concept was to work with contract workforce managers to help provide some guidance and, get the group together. And we're seeing a lot of networking groups that are full-time hire oriented or HR tech specific to full-time hire. There aren't a lot that are contract oriented. So that's what Contract Workforce Roundtable is all about. There's two kinds of events that you'll be seeing. I would expect that the events won't start happening till after the first of the year, just because of the holidays and the timing of it all. But the two kinds of events are this news conference event, which will have a 10 to 15 minute very topical conversation and then maybe 15 minutes of Q&A. There are streaming services that allow interactivity, and we'll be using those. Actually, they'll be streaming on multiple sources. So if you do get involved and can't, and we'll message which ones are interactive and which ones really are just viewing live streams. Now, the other event is the true roundtable. So there will be topics for each roundtable. My estimation is that the roundtables will take place quarterly, whereas the news conference probably occur monthly. And the roundtable will be more of a larger event, and obviously looking for people that want to participate in it, both as a roundtable leader, and then as well as finding participants for your particular topic. So stay tuned for that. The website is live. It's only been up for about a week or so. So there'll be more data that comes down the road with the roundtable. Paytrack is the next one. So as I mentioned, we were scraping jobs for to send that data or to sell that data to companies that need it. My position was that we needed a UI, a user interface that would make some sense out of the data. The data was just so, there was such a large amount that how do we make sense of it? My partner at the time wanted to focus on data only, and I said, well, I'm going to take a run at this UI and see if I can create a commercially viable product using that data. And that's where Paytrack comes along. Paytrack, the freemium piece that you see, which says search current rates, when you click that, it asks you for the job title that you're looking for and the location, and it'll tell you what the current rate is and what the national rate is in comparison. There's a number of pricing schemes that get you more and more data, and that's all on Paytrack, and you'll see some more in the intro video as well. I believe that this could very easily be sitting in a lot greater presence in the VMS MSP world. So, for example, when you create a requisition, if you're looking for rates for that requisition, the API would take the job description or the job, that could take the job description depending on your level of subscription, the job description for subscription. But basically, on the elementary level, it would take your job title and the location, and it would tell you what the current rate structure is. This could be available to both the hiring side as well as the supply side, because it may have an interest there. My experience has been that every hiring manager, every hiring company feels like they're paying too much, and every consultant thinks they're not paid enough. So this is one way to level set, because it is real-time data. So that's PayTrack. The next one is MyTier0. So this, I believe, will be a disruptor in the contract labor space. And the concept here is that you traditionally when you're looking for talent, you deal with the supplier, and the supplier works with the talent. What MyTier0 is it allows you to directly connect to the talent and message the talent, and engage the talent in your company. It's going to expand your brand as a hiring organization. It's going to reduce your time to fill. It's going to help you manage rates. There's all kinds of things that'll come of that. And I really believe that tech, and there's a few tech platforms out there that'll do this. That tech is it's available today, and it can be done today. The challenge has been that it gets a little complicated. And there is nuance in contract labor that differentiates itself from full-time hire. So most of the tech that's available is focused on full-time hire, and I'm saying that there's definitely a market for this in the contract space. And certainly would love to have that conversation with anybody that's interested. The last one is kind of the one that's undercover, which is the next generation VMS. This product I've been speccing for quite some time, and I've had some development resources do some work on it for me in these down times, including what's going on right now. And it really does integrate all of the tech that you would use as an API connection into one platform. I'd say that it's about it has the functionality today of what most VMS systems have. There are some things that are in the works that are differentiators and disruptors. They are, that's the part that is still left to be developed, but has been spec'd. The challenge is, I'm sure you can all be aware that this is totally self-funded. So it's done very much on the cheap. So, which means it takes longer than it should to develop, but it's not being done by cutting corners. So, if God willing, the clock doesn't run out, hopefully we'll have a VMS system that is truly a disruptor. And if not, there's a lot of ideas that are put into that spec that existing VMS companies, if you're interested in my thoughts and how we can disrupt, I'm certainly all over that. So that's the focus on the next generation. If we get to the point where you'd like to see some of the product spec, I'd be happy to share that with you under the right circumstances, obviously. And that's really all it is for me. If you would like to connect with me, you can always call my cell, and that's what's on the screen there. I do have a Calendly account that you could go on and request time, always available to talk about this thing. It's certainly my passion. And there's a LinkedIn connection if you'd like to connect that way. The LinkedIn also has access to these other platforms like Calendly. So in the event that you want to connect, that's always a good place to start. So I appreciate the time. Hopefully this is thought-provoking. If it is, great, let me know. If you think if this is just kind of routine, I'd be really interested in hearing your feedback on that as well. So thank you again. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.